You're in an argument right now, not a real one, the kind that lives in your head. You're collecting evidence, screenshots, timestamps, receipts. You think if you just get enough facts, the other person will finally see it. They won't. And here's why. You're not losing because you're bad at arguing. You're losing because you're playing a game you cannot win. You think reality is discovered? Like a treasure chest buried in the data. Dig deep enough, find the truth, everyone agrees. That's the myth they sold you. But reality is appointed, and the person who's been appointing it, it's never been you. There's a reason psychiatrists in the 1950s acted like gods. There's a reason CEOs make decisions with incomplete information. There's a reason your parents could just say something, and it became law in your house. They knew the trick, and you're about to learn it. But I'm warning you right now, this isn't about facts. This is about authority. Miss this, and you'll spend the rest of your life arguing with people who will never believe you. Stay, and you'll learn how to appoint reality before someone else does it for you. So let's start with the villain, the thing that's been keeping you stuck. You've been lied to. They told you the truth will set you free. Get the facts, look closer, be objective, study harder, research more. That's what they taught you in school. That's the myth of objective observation, and it's bankrupting your mental energy. Here's what they don't tell you. The clinical definition of delusion, straight from the psychiatric manual, is this: the uncorrectable establishment of connections between phenomena without real grounds. Read that again. Establishing connections without real grounds. You know who fits that definition perfectly? Historians. They take random events separated by centuries and create a narrative. Philosophers. They connect abstract concepts with zero empirical proof. Your favorite podcaster. Connecting dots between Mesopotamia and cryptocurrency. Everyone's a madman. The only difference? Some madmen have authority. Some madmen have institutions backing them. And when a madman has authority, we don't call it delusion, we call it insight. Let me show you how this actually works. Picture this. Medical school, 1950s, it's called grand rounds. There's a patient, confused, babbling nonsense, 20 residents sitting in a circle, arguing. It could be bipolar? No, it's trauma response. Have you considered a neurological issue? Facts flying everywhere, theories colliding, nobody agrees. The patient keeps talking, but it's chaos, word salad. Then, the professor walks in, Dr. Sterling, gray hair, three-piece suit. He doesn't rush, he sits. He listens for 30 seconds, then he speaks. This is schizophrenia. That's it, 2 words, and you know what happens? Instantly, the chaos aligns. The residents nod. The babbling becomes symptoms. The confusion becomes a case. The random words the patient said 5 minutes ago, now they're disorganized speech patterns consistent with the diagnosis. He didn't discover the truth. He created it. This is the part they don't teach you in school. The diagnosis doesn't describe the disease. The diagnosis creates the disease as a structured entity out of chaos. Reality isn't sitting there waiting in the data. Reality crystallizes the moment someone with power names it. And if you don't learn to name it first, someone else will name it for you. Your boss will name what good performance means. Your partner will name what commitment looks like. The internet will name who you are, and you'll spend your life trying to prove they're wrong with facts. That will never matter. So here's the protocol. The one they don't teach you, the one that turns you from a student into Zeus. I'm calling it the Zeus Protocol, and it has 5 steps. Step 1, identify the ambiguity vacuum. You think your problem is a lack of information. It's not. Your problem is that everyone's drowning in ambiguous facts. No clear villain, no obvious answer, just chaos. And your brain, your ancient pattern-seeking brain, is burning energy trying to make sense of it. Here's what that looks like. A relationship that feels off. You can't point to one thing, just a vibe, a distance, so you start collecting data. He said he was busy, but he posted on Instagram. She said she's fine, but her tone was cold. You're building a case, but for what? You don't even know yet, or a business decision. Should I quit my job? You make a pros and cons list, 50 bullets on each side, and you're still not sure, because the facts don't resolve. This is what I call the ambiguity vacuum. Everyone's arguing facts, but nobody's winning. Because the problem isn't the facts. The problem is there's no frame. So here's your tool. Right now, pick one situation where you're stuck. Could be a relationship, a project, a decision. Ask yourself, are people arguing facts or are they arguing frames? If people are debating what the data means, not what the data is, you're in the ambiguity vacuum. Here's the science. Your brain is hardwired to resolve ambiguity. It's a survival mechanism. Ambiguous rustling in the bushes could be wind, could be a tiger. Your ancestors who decided fast survived. Your ancestors who collected more data got eaten. But in the modern world, there's no tiger, just infinite data. So your prefrontal cortex burns energy cycling through interpretations, over and over and over. That's why you feel exhausted but haven't solved anything. You're not lazy. You're stuck in ambiguity paralysis. Your brain is screaming for closure, but you keep feeding it more variables. Mark the situation. Name it out loud. I am in an ambiguity vacuum about X, because step 2 is going to make you uncomfortable. It requires you to abandon the one thing you've been taught to trust. Step 2, abandon fact-checking. I know how this sounds. You've been taught your entire life. Get the facts, research, be informed. But here's the counterintuitive truth. More data will not save you. This is the trap. You think, if I just investigate more, the answer will appear. It won't, because facts don't organize themselves. They sit there, inert, contradictory, waiting for someone to decide what they mean. Weak people collect evidence forever. Strong people appoint reality. So here's the tool. I call it the fact freeze. Set a timer. 48 hours. During this window, you are banned from gathering more information. No more Googling. No more asking friends for their take. No more, let me sleep on it. No more, I need to think about this. The information phase is over. You have enough data. You've always had enough data. What you don't have is a verdict. Here's the science behind why this works. It's called analysis paralysis. When you have too many data points, your decision-making circuits shut down. There's a study from Columbia University. Researchers set up a jam tasting booth. First booth, 24 flavors of jam. Second booth, 6 flavors. Guess which booth sold more jam? The one with 6 flavors outsold the 24 flavor booth by 1,000%. Because choice overload creates paralysis. Your brain can't handle infinite variables. It needs constraint. The problem isn't a lack of facts. The problem is a lack of frame. Facts don't organize themselves. Authority organizes them. And in step 3, you're going to become that authority, even if you don't feel ready. Step 3, assume the position of Zeus. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because you're waiting for permission to decide. You're waiting for the right answer to reveal itself. Like, if you just wait long enough, reality will clarify itself. Here's the secret. There is no right answer. There's only the answer you enforce. Let me say that again. There is no right answer. There's only the answer you enforce. So here's the tool, the Zeus Declaration. Stop asking, what is happening? Start declaring, this is what this means. out loud, to yourself, in one sentence, examples. Instead of, is he cheating or just busy? Declare, this is disrespect. Instead of, is this business failing or just pivoting? Declare, this is a failing model. Instead of, is she mad at me or just stressed? Declare, this is withdrawal. You're not describing reality, you're creating it. This is what linguists call a performative act. When a judge says, I sentence you to 5 years, he's not reporting that you're going to prison. He's sending you to prison by speaking. When a priest says, I pronounce you husband and wife, the marriage doesn't exist before he speaks. It exists because he speaks. That's what you're doing here. You're not discovering what the situation is. You're appointing what the situation is. And here's where it gets wild. Once you name it, your brain immediately starts filtering data to support that frame. It's called confirmation bias, and usually that's your enemy. But when you wield it intentionally, it's a weapon. You declare, this is disrespect. Suddenly, you start noticing all the micro behaviors that confirm it. The late replies, the half attention, the broken promises. Were those things always there? Maybe, but they didn't mean anything until you named them. Now they mean disrespect. And because you're treating it as disrespect, other people start responding to your certainty. They align to your frame. Because humans are social creatures, we align to whoever projects certainty. Most people never learn this. They spend their lives waiting for reality to clarify itself. It never does, but now you know. Reality doesn't clarify. Reality crystallizes around whoever speaks first with authority. But here's the thing. The verdict means nothing if you don't enforce it. Step 4. Enforce the frame. Zeus didn't just say, this is schizophrenia, and walk away. He prescribed treatment. He changed the protocol. He enforced the reality he created. That's what made him Zeus. Not the diagnosis, the enforcement. So here's your tool, the 72-hour enforcement window. Once you've made your declaration, you have 72 hours to act on it. If you declared, this is disrespect, then you enforce consequences. Set a boundary, have the conversation, or walk away. If you declared this is a failing model, then you pivot or you quit. If you declared this is withdrawal, then you create distance or you address it directly. No backtracking, no, let me just see what happens. No, maybe I was wrong. You named it, now you own it. Here's the science. This is how authority actually works. Authority isn't about being right, it's about being consistent. When you enforce your frame, others start treating your verdict as reality because inconsistency signals doubt, and doubt is contagious. The second you hesitate, the second you backtrack, your frame collapses, and everyone returns to arguing facts. Think about every strong leader you've ever seen. They don't waffle, they don't say, well, maybe, let me reconsider. They decide, they act, they enforce. Right or wrong, they're consistent. And that consistency creates a gravitational pull. People align to it because certainty is magnetic. Hesitate and they'll smell doubt. And the second they smell doubt, your frame collapses and you're back in the ambiguity vacuum, drowning in facts that mean nothing. But there's a warning you need to hear because this tool is dangerous. Step 5. Understand the risk. Let me be very clear about something. This protocol doesn't find truth. It creates order, and order is not the same as accuracy. Zeus was wrong sometimes. The professor misdiagnosed patients. Historians rewrote events that never happened, but they had power, so their wrong became real. This is the dark side of the Zeus Protocol. You can use it to create clarity, or you can use it to create delusion. The tool doesn't care, so here's your ethical checkpoint. Before you enforce a frame, ask yourself, am I doing this to create clarity or to avoid facing something uncomfortable? Will this verdict help people or just help me feel in control? Because there's a difference between a leader and a tyrant. Both appoint reality, but one does it for the group. One does it for the ego. A leader says, "This is a failing model because the data suggests pivoting will save the team." A tyrant says, "This is a failing model because admitting his own mistakes is too painful." A leader says, "This is disrespect," and enforces boundaries that protect her energy. A tyrant says, "This is disrespect," and uses it to control others through guilt. The moment you start using this tool to avoid accountability, you become the madman with a microphone. And that's how delusion works. Delusion isn't believing something false. Delusion is enforcing something false and demanding everyone else align to it. So use this tool to create progress, not to create comfort. Use it to cut through chaos, not to avoid reality. Most people never get here. They either stay paralyzed in facts forever, or they become delusional narcissists who bend reality to their ego. You're walking the razor's edge between the two, and that's where power lives. Here's what you need to understand. You're not learning a technique. You're learning how power actually works. In the real world, outside the classroom, historians don't discover history, they write it. Scientists don't find laws of nature, they name them. Gravity didn't exist as a concept until Newton appointed it. The Big Bang didn't exist until Hubble declared it. And you? You don't find the truth about your life. You appoint it. Every CEO does this. Every judge does this. Every parent does this. They look at ambiguous situations and they decide what it means. Not because they have all the facts, but because someone has to. And if they don't, chaos wins. You're not a fact checker anymore. You're an architect of reality. And the moment you understand that, you stop being at the mercy of chaos. You stop waiting for other people to tell you what's happening. You stop collecting evidence for arguments you'll never win. You start appointing reality before someone else does it for you. And that changes everything. Reality isn't a treasure hunt, it's a verdict. And the jury isn't out there, the jury is you. Now go appoint something